The slick talker, the mic rocker, 3J, the boss. Okay, what's up? It's TJ Martino here with another episode 6 of the TJ Martino podcast. We're back, folks, after a long hiatus of like 2 weeks. We're back in the stew. First of all, if you haven't already, check out the other episodes. There's 5 other episodes, 2 really good ones. And the first one, which is just an intro. If you've never heard any of these before, it's a quick little 10-minute intro of me, rambling into a microphone about why I'm even doing this in the first place. But for those of you that have been listening, I want to thank the 200 plus listeners to this podcast. Holy cow. I can't believe 200 people actually give a shit about me. But today, after, I'm starting to get on a roll. I'm getting more and more people that have been reaching out, wanting to join. And I'll talk more about this at the end, but, thanks to everybody that's listening, and thanks to people that want to come on. You will come on eventually if you got something that piques my interest, like this person today. And, I have a new guest this week after Ditch on last week's, Brandon Ditchak on last week's, or last time's episode. He was great, but I have another really great guest, a very good friend of mine. Jake Lieberman is here in the studio in Denny Hall. Jake, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Just living life right now. Really great to be here. It's an absolute honor.
Yeah, honor for you to be here, I guess. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, it's great for you to be here. We're gonna dig into some stuff today. I saw a really interesting movie that I want to talk about in a bit, but before we get into that, if you haven't already, hit me with that 5 stars on any of the podcast things that allow a rating system. So I know Apple does. I know Apple has the stars. Give me that 5 stars, mean a lot. Good. Boost my ego. Stroke my ego, please. And then, drop a little comment in there if you can, Tell me, how great of a face I have for radio. Tell me how annoying my voice is, or tell me how soothing my voice is, You walk to class, you drive to work. I know it's 7 a.m. on a Monday. God, can you believe it? It's Monday morning and you're just walking to class, literally hating yourself right now. But hey, hang in there, and if you got something to say, drop it in the comments. And also subscribe if you haven't, put the little notifications, whatever, if you don't see it on social media already, because I'm going to be spamming that stuff. So, without further ado, rate, comment, subscribe, the deal. But let's get into the first segment, shall we?
Let's do it.
Sights and sounds, people. This will be a kind of a quick one in this regard, but because I know these have been kind of running over. But what's your first sight of the week, if you have one?
First sight of the week, actually. It's a great question. So I was on Instagram the other day.
Oh, beautiful.
Instagram's great. Say what you want about it. Say what you want about social media, but Instagram it really just can hit home sometimes. So I follow this account called Agent Steven, and this particular picture really stuck with me because my friends at school like to joke that I should be in a cage, which honestly, is funny sometimes. Those who really know what I'm talking about right now, the joke is hilarious. For those that just know what type of antics I'm capable of doing, a cage is definitely sometimes necessary.
He's a trickster and a prankster, so
yeah,
he needs to be caged. Cage this man.
I like to just have fun and just go for it sometimes.
Yeah.
So, Agent Steven, this account that I'm referring to right now, this picture is one guy in a cage, and there's about 5 guys outside the cage holding cage bars, and they're giving him these cage bars to build the cage on top of him. And the caption reads, "The expectation of others were the bars I used for my own cage." So with that said, that really hit home. And it just goes to show you that you just got to break out of your cage. Whatever that is, everyone has a cage. I'm not the only one. So people can laugh about it. I need a cage sometimes, but at the end of the day, everyone's kind of binded by these expectations. And the most important thing is to just break out of that, just get rid of those bars and just build build like a natural cage that you can continue to grow out of. So that's really my first site. TJ, do you have any reaction to that?
Yeah, okay, we're getting really philosophical off the bat, and I like that. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Kind of like society can kind of put you in a box, of like, and kind of try to group you into some sort of cage and say like this person is this way, just off of maybe appearance or one thing they may have said or may not have said, or something that they may or may not have done. Rumors spread, especially amongst us young people. For all you old people out there, you get it, you feel it. Your parents out there, I know you're listening. No, but you guys get it. Like, people will try to put you in a box and put you in a cage, and it's more about just being like, I want to do what I want to do, and you're either gonna like that or not.
Yeah.
And I really like how you spun that around, because a lot of that is kind of like a running joke within our friends, is like, we need to put Liebs in a cage because like he's just.
But I mean, everyone kind of needs a cage at some point,
right? Some people, I definitely.
And I feel like people see that when you're with the people you're the most close with,
right?
Because you just have like any sort of confidence to do whatever you want, and then people look at you and are like, what is this kid doing? So
I mean, look at me, I'm making a podcast. Like, who else is making a podcast right now?
Like honestly, and like if you were to tell me like 2 months ago that like I would be like recording a podcast and like be really excited about it, like I don't know how I'd feel, just because like things change in your environment. Like you can't, like, this right now is more of me like breaking out of another cage. Like this is the first time that I've ever spoke publicly in front of a larger group of people. So anything, any sort of cage can be applied to whatever you want to do with your life.
No, yeah. Totally. I agree with that. Like, it's more of just being like, if you want to do something, and I mean, this is kind of a cliche thing, but like, if you really want to do something, just like the easiest way to do it is just to do it, I guess. Like,
put your head down.
And like silence out all of the noise and just kind of put your head down and do what you want to do, because like we live in a world, especially with like social media and all of that, it really can make it hard for you to actually want to reach out and do something. So I totally get what you're saying. I don't know. Yeah, I totally get what you're saying. That's actually really interesting. And I'll post the picture for those of you.
No, for sure. I'll send it to you.
Yeah, I'll post the picture out for those of you that actually want to see it.
Yeah, definitely give this guy's account a look.
So what is this account? Like, is it like a lot of that like philosophical like memes?
Pretty much. I mean, there are a couple guys in his realm that like I think he does like some sort of missions with. I mean, I found him through another influencer, Jay Shetty, whose account I'm on a lot. He posts a lot of memes like that. But yeah, I mean, definitely give it a look. A lot of everyone's day is spent on social media, if we're being honest. Like, that's just the reality of it nowadays. Like,
totally.
People try to escape it, but I mean, people try to delete their Instagrams, people try to delete their Snapchats, but like other people that you're friends with will always be on social media, will always have it. So like when you're with them and you see them, you kind of get inspired to go back to it. And just, if you're going to be on Instagram and Snapchat, there's nothing wrong with it. But just really, sometimes you got to think like, oh, I'm spending a lot of time here. Like, how can I make this meaningful? And I really, my feed is a lot of memes like that, just because this is where my eyes are for a lot of the day, if I'm being blunt.
And I'm going to second like what you were saying about like how you can't really escape social media. Like, it's 2019. Like, people are going to be posting stuff on social media. That's just the reality of it. And so I guess my advice is just to ride the wave and embrace it, because like it's not going anywhere. Like, you could try and close it out and delete all your accounts, but like at the end of the day, like it's gonna be there.
Yeah, you just gotta accept it.
But that being said, you have to be cognizant of what you're posting.
Totally. And
you don't want to post something that you'll regret. And that's kind of something that I've like always kept in the back of my mind with this podcast, is like, I have to really think about what I'm going to say before I say it, because it's 2019, and if I say something that maybe I don't mean, or if I say something stupid, it could come back. Someone will dig through it and try to expose me. It's woke culture, which we'll get into. But yeah, I think really just the point is just so. What is your biggest takeaway from this, something so small as an internet post? What is your main takeaway?
Honestly, it's just to keep an open mind with everything. I mean, you said ride the wave. There are so many different types of waves on social media that you could ride. So just ride your own wave. Keep an open mind. And yeah, that's just try to look for other like gems in like a rough patch like this. Because I mean, then my next post that I saw on Instagram was some meme from this account called Worst By, which I actually think is
I love that
Worst
account.
By is hilarious.
I love that account.
But like the content is so much different.
Yes,
so like if you see
idiotic.
something that's meaningful, take a second, take it in, and let it sink in for a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like you said, there's so many, like with all of that being said about social media, like there's so many opportunities within it. Like there's so many different communities. If
Right.
you like movies, books.
What communities are you in? Or would you identify most with in terms of?
I don't know. I post a
Instagram,
lot about.
Snapchat?
I'm on NBA Twitter a lot.
Yeah.
I post a lot about just stuff that I talk about on here, really, like movies and music and stuff like that, like stuff
like
that I'm
most people.
interested in. Yeah, like most people. Like, yeah. I mean, it's really that simple. Like, just find your little niche, and
Exactly.
you'll be good.
That's all there is to it.
My first sound, well, my only sound this week, is Joker, a cinematic reaction to woke culture. I went and saw Joker last night, and I have to say, this is kind of before I get started, this review will be spoiler free, which means no spoilers. I will not spoil any plot, anything. So if you have not seen Joker, you can listen and still enjoy the movie. I'm not gonna reveal anything that happens in the movie. Let me make that clear, okay? Because I know pretty much everybody hasn't seen it yet, because we're recording this on a Friday. This will come out Sunday evening, and I know a lot of people have not seen this movie. But if you have seen it, you'll get a lot more from this than the people that haven't. But even if you haven't seen it, you'll still, this definitely can be something to get from, and you'll get my thoughts on the movie, because I'm going to talk about it. First of all, before this movie even came out, because this movie actually released last night for the first time, like in public. Obviously, it was shown at film festivals, Venice, and all that, and it got a lot of buzz and awards. So I was really excited to see what this was about. Obviously, I loved the Joker's one of my favorite villains in comic books. He's just so mysterious and terrifying, and just a great yin and yang with Batman. But there is no Batman in this movie, so I was kind of wondering, how is this going to work with Joker with no Batman? But before this movie was even released, there was so much drama about, this movie glorifies violence, and it's, blah, blah, blah. Like, there was so much chit chat about, this movie's too violent, it shouldn't be made, it's gonna, and the security for this movie was beefed up at, like, all movie theaters. Like, it was kind of blown out of proportion, in my opinion. And yeah, like, obviously with the Aurora stuff and all that, that was a really bad situation. I get, upping security, sure, but, like, I think it's kind of, this movie doesn't really warrant that kind of, like, after seeing the movie, it doesn't really warrant this kind of reaction, especially for people that haven't even seen the movie. Like, most of the people that were complaining had never even seen the movie, because if you actually sit down and watch this movie, the biggest question is, like my biggest question going into the movie was, does this glorify violence? And my answer is no. This movie is not very violent. It really isn't. Like, it's more about the character than it is the violence and the gore and the blood. And is there that in this movie? Yes, but I think I felt like they kind of pulled punches in that regard. I've definitely seen so many movies and television, like Game of Thrones is more violent than this movie is. There's so many movies that I've seen that are more violent than this. Like, it's really not that, and I was really expecting this movie to be a bloodbath, and I was very surprised. And this movie's made by a filmmaker named Todd Phillips. If if you've ever heard of Todd Phillips, he is the director of the 3 Hangover movies. You've ever seen these?
I love The Hangover.
Yes, I do too.
We're going to Vegas next week.
Yes, we are going to Vegas next week, so that's funny that's brought up.
Let's try not to repeat Hangover 1 there.
Yeah, let's try not to get
roofied. None of us are getting married, to my knowledge.
Facts.
Or let's not get roofied either.
Yeah, but he created the 3 Hangover movies, and obviously there's been some pushback on those recently. People are saying, oh, they're offensive and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, why weren't you saying that in 2009? But anyway, he made those. Old School.
Old School is a classic.
Classic comedy.
Absolute classic.
Still, I think it holds up.
Old School is really like something that like I could just watch, let's just throw on and watch any scene and just watch until the end of the movie.
Right.
It's just one of those movies.
It's one of my all-time favorite comedies.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's such a star-studded cast of like that early 2000.
Yeah, you get
comedic actors.
You get Will Ferrell coming up.
You can't beat those guys.
He hadn't got, he was coming off SNL and like hadn't really hit his prime yet, but he was definitely on the up trail, like perfect peak Will Ferrell.
Owen Wilson.
Luke Wilson,
right.
Luke Wilson.
Yeah, it's Luke Wilson, not
Luke
Owen Wilson.
Yeah. But Luke Wilson's in it, and then Vince Vaughn at
Vince
Vaughn. I mean,
peak
this was
Vaughn.
Dodgeball, and all that was coming out.
Dodgeball's probably my favorite Vince Vaughn movie.
I agree.
That has some of the most quotable lines. Just so funny. Just really just pure humor.
Right. I love it. And then also, but anyway, back to Phillips. Yeah, Todd Phillips made Old School. And then Starsky and Hutch, which is one I haven't seen. I heard it's a really underrated
I've never
comedy.
seen that movie either.
And then War Dogs with Miles Teller and Jonah Hill. Did you see this one?
No, but Miles Teller, superb actor. I just wanted to add that.
I think he's really good too.
Whiplash, that's crazy movie.
That movie is great.
Anyone who hasn't seen that movie, just watch it now.
Yes,
just stop listening to this and watch Whiplash.
I loved Whiplash.
Yeah, crazy movie.
But yeah, so as for War Dogs, I thought it was okay. A lot of my friends that saw it really liked it. Personally, I thought it was fine. Like, wasn't anything mind-blowing. I thought Jonah Hill was really good in it, and obviously Teller was good, but the story just was interesting, but it kind of just felt a little bit empty. But anyway, Todd Phillips, it's crazy because, like, he kind of came out and said before he made this movie that, like, he's kind of done making comedies because, he feels like people are just too, because of woke. Well, he blames woke culture for him not wanting to make comedy movies anymore, and I think that's kind of an interesting take because it's like you look at how in this movie Joker dives into this a little bit of how what people perceive as funny is the same thing that as what people perceive as good and bad. Society determines what is good and what is evil, but they also determine what is funny and what is not funny, and especially in 2019 with social media just fueling that argument of people almost today just want to be offended just so they can take somebody down. It's almost becoming to that point where it's not even about being, offensive. It's about how can I knock this person off by turning society against them. And that's kind of what Todd Phillips is getting at. And this movie definitely explores that as well. Which is something that I found really compelling. And look, is there some things that are super offensive? Of course. But and obviously it's hard to draw that line, but a lot of the arguments of this movie just don't really hold weight, honestly. Especially after seeing it, I can honestly say that. I think people just need to realize it's a rated R Joker movie. What else were you expecting? Were you expecting him to go around and hug everybody? No, of course this movie is going to be violent. People would be complaining if it wasn't. So it's like, I never really understood the complaints and it's almost just like people are just like, they want to cancel everything. They want to, look at Dave Chappelle's Netflix special. Pretty controversial.
I actually didn't see his new one, but based on everything that I've seen of Chappelle, that's what you got to expect.
Yes, it's pretty controversial, and critics gave it like a 30-something% on Rotten Tomatoes.
But like that,
and then the audience score was a 99%, and it's just like people just want us if there's a controversial idea, people just want to shut it down. without even giving it a chance.
Yes
nowadays.
and no. Yes and no. I mean, you have obviously those people that are going to be offended by
Everything.
everything, or just the tiniest things that someone who's a little more laid back won't be offended by. But there are a lot of people like Dave Chappelle, like Eric Andre, who those who know me know that he's my favorite celebrity probably. He's just offensive, but he's hilarious. And that's what I think that's what's funny to me. So, I mean, like you said society likes to label things being good and bad. But I mean, I think it's so much harder for society to label something being funny because people find certain people funny and other people don't find them funny. They find them offensive. I mean, take Eric Andre, for example. Take really any comedian that someone finds funny. I mean, a lot of people don't like Jerry Seinfeld for whatever reason. They think his voice is annoying, but I find him to be hilarious. Same goes with Larry David. So I mean, it's really just more subjective than this good versus bad question.
Right, and Joker even has a line in the movie saying comedy is subjective. Like,
yeah,
it is. Like, and that's why it's hard to say, oh, that isn't funny. And like, just because it's offensive, maybe that's why it's funny, because you recognize how fucked up the world can be sometimes. You know, like, I think it's really an interesting look in this movie. So let's talk about the movie itself. Obviously, like I said, not going to spoil anything. But this movie really makes some interesting decisions with not only the Joker's character, because this movie, it's not as much about the Joker as it is Joaquin Phoenix's character becoming the Joker. And that's kind of what I loved about it, because the Joker has always been this like mysterious character, like you see in the Christopher Nolan Batman movies and whatnot. And I think this movie did a really good job of kind of flipping that on its side and saying, let's give you the deepest look into what would make somebody want to become the Joker in a real society. And I think this movie is really realistic in that regard. And I think that's why a lot of people will like it. Also, it's an interesting take on kind of the Joker in Batman origin story. It's kind of that story from the other side of the spectrum. And I'm trying to explain this without spoiling anything. But if you see the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about, in the sense of like the take on Batman is very compelling, and especially with Batman's parents. I think that whole storyline was one of my favorite aspects of this movie, and I think the script in this movie is brilliant. I think Todd Phillips did a great job. But let's talk about Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker himself. I loved the casting when it came out, and I mean, he's freaking great in this movie. Could you make the comparison to Heath Ledger? I gotta see this movie a couple more times before I can do that, but I mean, obviously, I think I like Ledger's a lot more just because it's iconic, it's classic, and you know the whole lore behind that performance it will always make it probably the best Joker. But I think this is a very unique take on the character, and in the movie, they did a really smart thing in making the Joker's laugh like a physical condition, and it's like when he laughs, like you can feel that like sometimes he doesn't want to laugh, but he can't help it. And I thought that was a really cool aspect. And you could tell Joaquin lost a lot of weight for this movie. He's really thin. And his performance is really, really memorable, honestly. And he's asked to do a lot in this movie, and he's in this movie a lot. I mean, he gets pretty much the entire screen time to himself. So if you're thinking about seeing it, check it out. It's a really ballsy movie. Especially for 2019, and like I was talking about with woke culture, it's kind of a reaction to that. It's kind of a pushback on that, because it's saying, you know, who's to say something is or isn't funny, you know, and that's kind of like what we were talking about. I think that's really an interesting discussion to be had, and this movie really makes you think. It really asks a lot of the viewer, and it's not like high octane action. It's a drama. It's not, it doesn't even feel like a comic book movie. Like it feels like a character study almost. Like it feels super dramatic. It's very into this character and exploring what would make somebody want to become the Joker. Some of the problems I had with it it takes a little bit to get going. I think the first 30 or 40 minutes of it's a little bit slow, I think, for a casual viewer. But once you get to about once there's a twist that happens in the middle of the movie, and you're like, oh wow, this movie's pretty smart. So definitely hang in there for you casual movie fans, because it does take its time, but if you can just stick with it and pay attention, it definitely pays off. But at that same point, as I'm saying that it's slow in the beginning, I wish the movie was 15 minutes longer. I feel like it kind of the ending is really good, but I feel like it should have went maybe another 10 or 15 minutes. And that's a very, very minor gripe. But outside of that, man, the movie's great. It's really, really, really smart. It has a really interesting take on the Batman and Joker storylines. And I think it does a lot of new things, and I don't think they should make a sequel. I think that this movie just should stand on its own. But if they do, please just make it worth it. But it's a ballsy movie, kind of a pushback on 2019 woke culture and whatnot. And is the movie as violent and terrible as people are saying it is? No. I've seen way worse than this. I mean, if you've seen Game of Thrones, you've seen worse than this. So if you're concerned about that, and it doesn't glorify being a serial killer, it doesn't glorify any of that. I think if anything, it shows you this is what could happen if society keeps going in whatever direction that Todd Phillips is trying to say. So for all that, I give it a 4.5. I give it a 4.5 out of 5. I think it's really good, and it's probably definitely gonna make my year-end list. Now, sounds. What's your sound?
Sounds. Let's talk Post Malone.
Oh, the new one?
The new one. I mean,
I talked about this last week.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
My bad. Then let's talk Chance.
Okay.
I mean, we were talking about this a little bit before, but I mean, what's happened to him? I mean, he's so different now. I mean, I don't even know 3 songs on his new album. I mean, I can't get myself to listen to it because he's taken a completely new direction with his music, which some people still love him, and I get that. I mean, he's Chance the Rapper. Like, he'll always be on top from his acid rap project and probably Coloring Book and 10 Day as well, but I just really didn't like this album at all, to be honest, and it's not what I wanted. I expected something a little bit more acid rappy, just because he's taken such a long time on this project that I was really expecting him to deliver, and that's not what we got. So I mean, I still can listen to his old stuff. Like, this isn't stopping me from listening to his first 3 albums any more than it would have, but it's a shame. I mean, that's really what I have to say about it.
Yeah, I did a YouTube review of this album when it came out, but kind of I said maybe this album could grow on me. I think I remember saying something like that, but to be honest with you, I completely agree. I think this album is awful. It's still really bad. And I'm not the biggest Chance fan in the world, honestly. Like I said, 10 Day was a fun project with a lot of potential. Acid Rap is really great. I think that's like definitely his best work.
Yeah.
Definitely
Hands
one
down.
of my favorite projects of the decade. I've found myself listening to it way more than I ever thought I would. Just the catchy tracks on there, the psychedelic vibes, all of that really, really is stuff that I'm a fan of. So I really liked that whole aesthetic of that album, and then Coloring Book has its moments, but it's definitely a positive, but it's not my favorite. It's definitely my least favorite of the 3.
You sort of see that direction to what The Big Day was now.
Yes,
in Coloring Book.
totally, and especially like going back, like, that's a good point. You totally see the direction that he's going in, and that was kind of the thing. Like, I'm not a huge fan of the gospel. I think if gospel music, when it's incorporated in rap, I think it can be done well. But I didn't think Chance. Yeah, I agree. But I didn't think. I thought Chance at moments handled it well, but sometimes it just was a little bit too much for me, personally. But then this album, The Big Day, No. No. Like I said, none of these tracks are really I haven't listened to this album very much
Just no
at
replay
all
value.
since. Right. I listened to the whole thing, and by the end, I was like, no more Nicki Minaj, please. No more terrible bars and awful hooks and just this whole thing. The hot shower. Even I said I liked that track. I thought it was fun. I don't think I've listened to it very much since, unless it's been played out in public. And it's a shame because I thought Chance had a lot of potential to be a really good rapper, especially after Acid Rap, because I thought that was a great project, and to hear him kind of just go into this poppy, it's almost like he made a career off not selling out, being like, oh, I'm gonna drop all my music for free and blah 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 blah, and then he sold out. He didn't sell out on the financial end, he sold out on the sonic end. Like, his music sounds so watered down and poppy and uninspired, and his rapping on here is the worst it's ever been for a guy named Chance the Rapper. He's not doing very good rapping on this thing. I have nothing really more to say about it than
So you
that.
think he's selling out on the financial end by putting all of his albums on Spotify and all these other platforms? I think he's more. I think he's selling out on the financial end more than the sonic end. I think he doesn't care. He cares more about financials, clearly.
Yeah, now it is. But I get it. He has to support a family. Like, that stuff doesn't even bother me. Like, releasing the albums out on streaming services, people have been wanting that for a while. Like, people have been wanting Acid Rap out on the streaming services.
I mean, I was so excited when they dropped those 3 albums.
Yeah, like, I don't think that's a problem, but I think just his overall artistic ability has just fallen for me, man. Like, none of this stuff sounds original. I mean, all these features are bad. Like,
I think he's still got it. I mean, you listen to the YBN Cordae feature that he's in.
Yeah, a lot of people have been buzzing about YBN Cordae.
Like,
I missed that album.
Sick,
I need to check it out.
Chance just didn't perform the way he did in that song throughout his entire album, and that's just all there is to it, and why I'm really just not listening to it, and I probably won't really get around to having it in my repertoire of all the various albums that I like to listen to.
Yeah, I'm with you. I my thoughts haven't really changed that much since my review, honestly, because I haven't really listened to this album all the way through since. I have no real plan of doing that. I'm kind of over this project. And if Chance can win me back with something, please do, because I think his whole flow and his wordplay and all that is really, really creative, but it's just nowhere to be seen on here.
Let's take a shift to more of an album that we really love this summer. What was something that you haven't really talked about but would like to talk about more, just because of
an album?
How much it's resonated with you, like, from the summer.
Oh, Bandana. Freddie Gibbs Mad Lib Bandana. That's my favorite album of the summer.
I haven't listened to that.
It's my favorite album of the year. It is the album of the year, hands down.
Really?
Incredible. I mean, from start to finish, it's only 45 minutes. It's a lot of gangster rap, so if you're not into that, it's a lot of cocaine rap. If you're not into that, like,
yeah, it's not for everybody.
Yeah, it's not for everybody, but it's very hip hop, and that's what I like about it. And obviously, it's 2 guys that are veterans of the game at their best. I mean, Madlib is one of the best producers of all time, and Freddie is probably the best rapper working today. I mean, probably, he is.
Wow.
He is the best rapper working today.
I don't even listen to him at all.
I love this album. I absolutely love it.
Gotta get to it.
But if you're gonna check out a couple of tracks to see if you're interested, let me pull up the album so I can give you some recommendations. Freestyle Shit, the first track, awesome. Half Man, Half Cocaine, an absolute banger. Crime Pays is a really aggressive rap song over a really pretty beat. Practice is my favorite track on there. It's so just awesome sampling and some really conflicted bars by Freddie on there. Situations, love that one. Fake Names, ugh. Shit's so real, gotta use fake names. That is just a nasty track, and that beat switch is crazy. Education is really a cool track as well. The whole album's dope. Just listen to the whole album all the way through. Palmolive with Pusha T and Killer Mike, 2 of cocaine rap's best, going side by side there. And like, I don't even like cocaine. Like, I don't do cocaine, but like, I love rap about cocaine.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
It puts you in some sort of mood.
And like the thing, I love gangster rap because like
It just
I am
gives you
not a
vibes.
gangster at all, so it kind of like puts me in that world, and that's why I like it. Like I don't want to listen to the same rap about and like this, but like he raps about the same stuff that normal rappers do, but he does it in such a more creative way, and like he says things in ways that other people wouldn't. Like it's hard to explain, but listen to the album. It's great.
Is it like the intellect of his verses that really stuck with you? Or
He's
is
not
it
even
just,
that lyrical. It's more of just like he's clever. He's very clever. His flows on there are incredible. Like you give the guy a beat and he can literally rap on any beat.
That's what I really look for.
Yes, and like he's not
judging a rapper.
He's not very introspective like that. He's not like a super conscious rapper or anything like that. He's a gangster rapper that just spits what he believes, and like I don't believe and agree with everything that he says, but you don't have to. Like I appreciate it for what it is. Like and Madlib is his beats on there are amazing and have always been amazing. So
yeah, and I'm gonna tie kind of this discussion back to what we were talking about before with just kind of keeping an open mind, because you listen to Migos or Freddie Gibbs or one of these guys and they sound like they're someone who you might not be able to relate to because they're gangsters and they're talking about doing things that you'd probably never do or never even think about
drugs and murder and
but people find enjoyment from listening to these songs just because they put you in some sort of vibe and
in a different world and give you a different perspective on
exactly
the world.
Like when I walk to class when I'm on campus walking to class or walking wherever I need to be, I listen to some of the most ignorant shit.
Honestly,
like I listen to, like, I room with Josh White, who's one of my closest friends, and he's really gotten me into
he will be on the podcast.
Yeah. He's really gotten me into EDM these past couple weeks. And
oh yes, I love to hear that.
This morning when I woke up at 8:15, I usually just play a song that just like gives me energy in the morning. I listened to this song called Grizztronics, which he showed me last night.
Oh my God.
This song is just so ignorant, and like it's just like if someone heard me doing this, they'd be like, what is wrong with you? Why are you listening to this song so early in the morning? Like, don't you need some time to like adjust your eyes or your ears or whatever? And it's just certain songs just can really just make an impact because they're fun and they give you energy, even though they could just sound so stupid at first.
Honestly, hearing that makes me so happy because I love, outside of gangster rap, I love EDM. I have been an electronic music fan for over 6 or 7 years and like very into it. Follow me on SoundCloud. You can see all my reposts and likes. Those are like all the new like electronic music I like. Also, my Spotify, TJ Martino No Spaces. That's my like Spotify music account. I have like House is my house playlist. Listen to this if you want CTs. My headbanging dubstep playlist. Short plug there, but anyway, I've loved dubstep and EDM and all that for a long time, and I'd always play it at my high school parties. Like I'd hop on the aux, and my friends would be like, "What is this robot music? Like turn this off!" And then like by my junior or senior year, my friends started playing that music, and I'm like, seriously? Like, I've been playing this music for 2 years now, and you guys have done nothing but try and kick me off, and now all you want to hear is that kind of music. And, like,
the man on the sticks
but I
has
love
the
it,
power.
though. But I love it, though, because, like, and I love that you say that because, like, more and more people are getting exposed to how creative this music is. And, like, yes, I love the song Grizztronics, by the way. I think that song is freaking brilliant. And look.
It's a banger.
It's so stupid. And maybe that's why I, don't like listening to like super popular rap because like it's so idiotic that I can only take like I get all of my idiotic music from house music and I get all my idiotic lyrics from like house music and dubstep and all that. So I feel like that's kind of why I'm like kind of gravitate towards that more than like popular rap, even though I do like some popular rap like DaBaby and whatnot, you know. He has some good tracks here and there, but I want to see more people get into this kind of music, and I love it.
Next week should be a stepping stone for
Yes.
that with Vegas.
Yes,
We got
it will be.
We got Chris Lake. We got a
Yes.
bunch of people going.
Yeah,
to
let's talk
Fisher.
about that real quick. We're going to Vegas next weekend. You've never been to Vegas, right?
No.
Me neither. I've
Yeah.
never.
I mean, this would be the only time, like the first time in my life where it actually makes sense for me to go.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, 21. I just turned 21 last year, but I mean, I don't want to like I know it's gonna be crazy. Everyone who's been in the past knows
It's Las Vegas, Nevada.
it's Las
Let's
Vegas.
be real,
It's
people.
gonna be crazy. So I mean, we just gotta be careful. Hang out with our closest friends there. Like it's really important.
Buddy system.
Yeah, you got just for anyone listening who's going, just don't put yourself in a vulnerable situation. I mean, have the time of your life. It's your senior year, most likely, because this is normally the senior trip. But I mean, just go in there and make sure you really have like a close group of friends around you, because there will be situations that might seem super crazy, and that's really just all I have to say about it. But I mean, other than that, just have the time of your life. Live it up.
And for you post college and older folks, what's your give me some advice when I go to Vegas, hit me up on Twitter, or actually I'm back on Facebook. Can you believe it? It's 2019. I am back on Facebook, folks. So hit me up on there, Twitter, Facebook, whatever, and Instagram, and let me know, some tips maybe from some of you old heads that have been out there and have experienced the capital of the United States, of the world, the gambling capital of the world. I didn't even know.
Are you a big gambler?
No,
Yeah,
I don't.
neither
I'm
am I.
not gonna spend a dime on gambling. Probably.
That's the plan.
I have no. I'm not. I don't even know how to play poker. I don't want to learn the rules because I know if I learn, I'm gonna play and just my friends are gonna con me out of money. So I'm like, you know what? At this point, I'm fine just watching people play.
Right.
And I don't know the rules, so I'm just like, okay.
It gets exciting too.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really understand poker, blackjack, any of those games too well. I mean, I'm the very, very novice player, but I could watch it sometimes on ESPN or whatnot.
Right.
And just enjoy myself and just see their reactions when they hit the jackpot or whatever. Yeah. So, you mentioned DaBaby before.
I wanted to
get
talk.
back into the
That was
music
actually going to be
aspect of
my sound. Is DaBaby's new album Kirk came out last weekend. I gave it a listen, and DaBaby, for being as mainstream as he is now, I mean, he has really blown up over the past couple of months. I
feel
mean,
like
he
he's
was going
so
to
many
perform at
features.
Breakaway, and then he was like, "I'm too big for this," so he dipped out. But this album is interesting because it has a picture of him as a baby, obviously, with his father who's passed away. And I thought we were going to get a little bit more introspective stuff from him. And we do a little bit on the intro track, but outside of that, to be honest, this doesn't really do a whole lot for me. But it's not terrible. There's some tracks on here that I actually enjoy. I thought Raw Shit with the Migos, it's a dumb song, but I think it's fun.
I like that
and,
song.
Migos have
Vibes.
really gone stale for me. I mean,
Bop is good.
really, but I think that one's fun. Bop.
Vibes is also good.
Yeah, Bop, that one hits. I like that. I like Bop. Yeah, that one's nice. So my three favorite would probably be Intro, Bop, and Raw Shit.
Yeah.
Nicki Minaj, it's not the worst feature I've heard her do, but she just does nothing
It's still
for
Nicki
me.
Minaj.
Gospel.
It's so hard to listen to that combination.
Gospel with a terrible chance verse, and Gucci Mane, whatever, and YK Osiris is on the hook doing a terrible job. Toes with Lil Baby and Moneybag, boring. I even like the track XXL at the end. I thought that's like the XXL freestyle he did. Sure, whatever. But overall, in my look, I kind of just want some variety from DaBaby a little bit. A lot of these beats sound the same. A lot of these songs sound like they just bleed into each other, and not in the kind of cohesive way that I would want it to do it, would want it to sound. It's just kind of sounds like he's rapping over the same beats. And if you notice, the beginning of all these songs, he literally raps on the first second the song starts, which I thought was pretty funny.
Gotta love the cool intro like that.
Yeah, I mean, he literally just gets into it, and but I can't deny his he does have some funny bars on here, and his flow is really, really dope. That's probably my favorite part of him, is he has a really creative flow, and is Yeah, I mean he's definitely probably one of my favorite like big name rappers right now. Honestly, like I mean amongst his peers, he's definitely like one of the stronger guys out there.
Yeah, he's had a true meteoric rise. I mean, since he dropped Suge. How do you pronounce it? Suge.
Suge Knight.
Suge,
yeah.
Suge, whatever. Yeah, that song. As soon as I heard that song for the first time, I started to listen to more of his music.
Yeah, I liked Itch. Itch was a track. If you've ever heard Itch by DaBaby, listen to that one. I like that one. That's a fun one. And also Walker, Texas Ranger. That bitch on the baby, what you heard about me? I like that. That one's good too.
Yeah.
So yeah, he has some good tracks.
He's got some interesting.
He's got some good tracks. But overall, didn't really do too much for me. Also, real quick, happy 50 years to Abbey Road by the Beatles. I'd never listened to this album before, but they just released a huge deluxe edition of the album on streaming services with a bunch of unreleased takes of some of the classic songs on here. And I never listened to this album all the way through. So I listened to it last week, and I absolutely loved it. I get why these guys were so beloved and why they're a classic group. I mean, probably the greatest band of all time, a lot of people say. I mean, there's definitely arguments to be had.
They're normally in people's top 3.
Right. And, you know, everything. But some of my favorite tracks, Oh Darling's my favorite one on here. Come Together is a classic. Something, love that. Obviously, Here Comes the Sun is a nice little chill track on here. Just a lot of like love ballads. This on here, but Golden Slumbers and Carry That Weight. When it really hits to that point, and the album starts really moving at a fast pace, I really loved.
Yeah,
and it's a really easy listen.
It's a great Sunday morning coffee shop type of feel.
Yeah, definitely.
Obviously, a lot different than DaBaby.
Yes, high contrast. And
yeah,
that's the thing. Like, I can go from listening to a song by DaBaby and then listen to the Beatles right after. Like, I can. I change on a dime. Like, I'll listen to like the Beatles and then I'll hit like Grishtronics. Like that's like what I'll do. Like it's kind of unconventional, but yeah, I like switching up vibes really quickly. Which
I like to like group the vibe together.
Yeah.
For a lack of a better term, and like when I'm in a certain mood, I only listen to those types of songs. But I mean, I could change on a dime if, say, I'm at the library and I'm listening to the lo-fi study beats playlist, and then I walk out of the library and we have some sort of social event. I'm going to be listening to Chris Lake, and
yes,
that's just it's a huge contrast.
Yes, which by the way, we never mentioned who we're going to be seeing in Vegas.
Well, I just did.
Oh yeah, Chris Lake. We're seeing Chris Lake.
Yeah. If you're not going to Marquee for Chris Lake, you got to send it. That's supposedly the move.
Yeah, that's word on the street.
That's the word on the street.
Yeah, the streets are talking, and that's what they're saying.
And by the way, those Drake rumors aren't there. It's not a thing. We completely made up those rumors yesterday. Drake is not going to be in Vegas, FYI.
Well, he could be.
He could be, but he's not performing, so don't worry about that.
Well, yeah, and then are we doing Nightmare?
I
love Nightmare.
I don't really know what my plan is for that.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. We got time.
We got Pauly D though.
Are we doing that?
We got it. We got it.
Are we?
I mean,
are we really going there?
I feel obligated to see Pauly D just because Jersey strong.
Yeah, facts. He's a hometown hero.
Jersey Shore is an absolute classic.
I love Jersey Shore.
I will always be like, I will never not be in the mood to watch that show
because you don't have to pay attention to it.
Yeah,
you'll know exactly what's going on. You literally don't even have to listen.
Stupidity at its finest, but great entertainment.
Shout out to my roommate Cooper from freshman year. Him and I went back and watched the entire series, and we found the uncensored version. If you can find the uncensored versions, please watch those because they're hilarious. And my head hurts after hearing so many bleeps. That I'd just rather hear him say the F word. But yeah, really, really fun show. And maybe, you know what? I don't care. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter to me who we see. Chris Lake will be fun.
It'll be fun.
I want to see Zoo. What. Zoo is awesome.
Yeah, I've been talking up
Zoo because I think Zoo would be an awesome vibe for Vegas. A lot of people are just not listening to me, but that's okay. Ellsworth and I are going to go see
I wish we were seeing more hip hop guys, to be honest.
Really, I'm happy we're not because rap concerts usually aren't good unless you're going to see Freddie Gibbs. because he actually raps his entire songs.
But I mean, don't you want to be listening to certain songs live, like that type of scene? Like, can't you picture yourself listening to like a Lil Uzi banger just live and just like taking in the scene? Like that's really what I think of when I think of spring break.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen Lil Uzi, and
I saw him freshman year. Breakaway.
Yeah,
He
I
was
saw that
disappointing,
concert.
but
Yeah.
like he's definitely released some great songs like from my sophomore year to now, where I know he would perform.
Like,
I mean, EXO Tour Life to start.
yeah, that's a fun one.
That's always a fun one. That's a Rack is great.
That's a rack.
That's a Rack is a fun song. And then I mean he's just got great older albums that I mean if he plays his old stuff in combination with a couple of songs that he's released this year, I just think it would make for a fun concert. But I mean there's obviously certain rappers that like you wouldn't want to see like that have more of a mellow vibe and like an MGM in Las Vegas. You want to see like the fun rappers.
Yeah, and I think that like that's why I want to see DJs, because like they're gonna play high octane stuff.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna be off the walls. Like especially Chris Lake. Like I love how house music is hands down my favorite like subgenre of electronic music. I love it. I literally, it's like crack to me. Like I could literally inject it into my veins. Like I listen to it way too much. Like anything over 120 BPMs is definitely gonna hit me that kind of way. And Chris Lake, I think, is really really good. He's got a lot of really popular, and he definitely has kind of like breached that pop house vibe.
He could definitely spin it.
But he definitely is very house, very like housey, I guess. I don't know how to describe it. I don't know all the terminology, but yeah, you know what I mean. Like he's got some good sing-alongs, and some like "Turn Off the Lights" is a really fun song.
Yeah. No, he's got some
"Stay With Me" and
some
all
big
that,
ones.
yeah.
He's got that remix, the Calvin Harris song that everyone loves. How Deep Is Your Love?
Oh yeah,
Great
that's
remix.
right. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, no, I love that song.
Yeah.
But I'm excited for it. We'll
Yeah, I mean, sure.
Sure. Why not?
Vegas should be interesting. Yeah. So we talked sights and sounds. So yeah, follow us on Spotify and Apple Music and all that, and TJ Martino, no spaces for those. And then obviously follow the podcast, TJ Martino Podcast, on Spotify, Apple, whatever. We'll get to that at the end. And then my SoundCloud, my name. Just search me, you'll find me. But now we're going to go on to my last topic, our last topic here. Talking like whatever. Our last topic. What is dead may never die. Well, folks, we're going to get a little bit morbid here. We all, as human beings, unfortunately, we have an expiration date. There's going to be a day where we all die. Well, not all, but we all will die at some point, right? And coming up next month is Dia de Muertos, which, for you Spanish people out there, is Day of the Dead. Shout out to the movie Coco by Pixar. Great movie if you haven't seen it. It's November 1st. So I figured, why not? I was kind of thinking, I was talking to one of my roommates, and we were talking about, somehow it came up of how we're going to want to bury ourselves, like when we die. And so it kind of gave me this idea to think about like all of the different ways in which people are buried, or rest, how the dead is rested. The concept of resting the dead, like it's kind of like bizarre if you really like. As I was like reading through it, I'm like, there's so many like odd ways that people like dispose of dead bodies. Like for instance, you could be buried the typical way in a casket, dug under 6 feet deep underground. You have a little, funeral and whatnot. You could be buried.
I don't think too many people think about this though. Like they don't want it. Like people choose not to think about this.
Yeah.
Obviously, like there comes a point in time where like you bury someone, you choose. But like this is certainly the first time where like I really put everything into perspective. Like how do you want to be buried?
We'll get to it. But first way is, the tip, the way we all see in movies and on The Sopranos is, people just buried underground. You got the little service and whatnot. Or my mom, rest in peace, she was put on a shelf. So like her casket was like slid into like this shelf like thing with like a bunch of other shelves like lined up at like the graveyard, but it was like its own like thing. just because she didn't want to be buried in the ground. So I didn't even know, like, that was like the first time I had heard of that. And I was like, holy cow. Burial at sea. Crazy. You could get disposed of in the ocean, Bin Laden style. Usually, if you're a big fish fan, if you like, I don't know, if you like to swim, would you ever think of being buried at sea?
No, because I mean,
then you can't even find the body at that point.
You don't.
And I think that's kind of the point. Is like it's usually done for like people like Osama bin Laden, where it's like we don't really care where his body goes. Like we're just gonna throw it in the water, and that's that. Cliff burials. Ancient Chinese and Filipinos used to do this. They would basically like carve out the casket, like a spot for the casket to go like on the side of a cliff, which I guess has some sort of religious symbolism. Or shot in space. You could have your remains sent into space. This would be awesome. I think Hunter S. Thompson had this done to him when he died.
Do you come back to life if you like land somewhere else in space?
That is a very interesting point.
Elon Musk's got to get on that.
Yeah,
he's got to figure.
What if that happened? What if your body just got shot out into space and it just landed on like light years away on some random planet?
He's got to figure out a way to revive a dead body on Mars or
aliens
something.
Like recovered your body and were able to revive you, and you woke up on an alien planet.
I don't know.
That's pretty.
I don't think that's possible in the near future, but you never know. You never know.
Yeah, do you know a man named Eugene Shoemaker?
Eugene Shoemaker. I love the name Eugene. I love the last name Shoemaker as well, but I don't know who that is.
He is the man he's the only person to be buried on the moon.
Buried on the moon?
Yes, his remains are on the moon.
Did he come back to life too? Or did he come back to life on the moon?
No.
Oh.
I think he's just there. I think his body's just on the moon.
He's just chilling?
Yes.
He's posted?
That is a pretty awesome place to be buried, is on the moon.
Yeah, it's definitely pretty lit.
But yeah, we're going to get into, or cremation. Your body could just be burnt to ashes, which is kind of where I'm going to get into my idea. This is how I want to be buried, or this is how I want to be rested when I die, because it's going to happen. I'm not immortal. Nobody is that we know of. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. But the way that I want to be buried is I want to be cremated, right? I want to be turned into ashes, but I want to get at my physical peak. I want to get a little hollow figure of my body made, and I want it to be filled up with my ashes. So it's like a little action figure of myself.
Like something a taxidermist would do?
Kind of, but like I want it to be like made of like ceramic, not glass. Like I want it to be made of something that won't, like plastic maybe, or like a hard plastic, something that won't break. But that can be like painted and colored, because I want it to look exactly like me. Like I almost want it to be like an action figure of myself, only hollow on the inside, so I can fill with my ashes. So you could just put me on your little mantle, like my kids and my grandkids.
I don't know if I could do that. No, that's weird. That's weird to me.
Put me on their mantle.
That's bizarre.
Grandpa TJ is always watching.
No, his ashes are.
His ashes are watching you. His little action figure toy. Or I could do it like of my old body. Like,
no,
I don't know, but I can figure that out in the future. But I that's kind of my idea. I don't know if this will actually hold up like 10 years from now, or even a day from now, to be honest with you. But as of Friday, October 4th, that is how I want to be rested when I'm dead. I want to be burned into ashes, and instead of my ashes being put in an urn, I want the urn to be like a recreation of my body.
Okay. Listen, whatever makes you happy. I'm not stopping you from doing that. I don't think I want my ashes in a action figure.
Would you want to be cremated?
No, I don't think so.
You want to be put in a casket?
Yeah, I think I want to be put in a casket. Now that you mention it, I just want somewhere where my descendants come after me are going to be able to recognize me and
like have a gravestone.
Yeah, exactly. Just traditional burial. So I guess that's my answer to that. But yeah, let's just think about the good things in life, man.
Yeah, so that's my my take on how I want to be buried. Um, on yeah. What else? You got anything else?
No, I mean, I just want to thank you again for letting me be a guest this week. This was really, really fun. I'm really glad we were able to do this. I feel like this was a long time coming.
Yeah,
I mean,
certainly.
yeah, we definitely got very close last year in the house, and then kind of just talked throughout the summer, which was nice. And then I saw that you had this podcast. I'm like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
wow, gotta get on it. Gotta
Yeah.
show my support for you. But yeah, for anyone, if this is anyone's first time listening to TJ's podcast, please continue to listen more. He's
Thank
got
you.
some real great things to say just about anything. I mean, we talked about a wide range of topics here, and that's really what I think people should expect. And if you ever feel the need or want to connect with TJ and see if you can get on this podcast, reach out to him. He's always open to
Right.
connecting with new people and learning about new perspectives.
Especially if you have something interesting to talk about, like, then I'm totally open to it. And I'll get kind of into this more in my closing statements. But yeah, let's talk a little bit. How about your Cowboys? You nervous about the Packers this weekend?
A little bit.
You should be.
Yeah. I mean, last week didn't make me feel so great about them, but I like Dak. I like that team. I like their team this year. I like Dak. I like Witt. I like the fact that Witten's back. I mean, we got Zeke, who just constantly eats, and then our defense is rock solid. I mean,
Yeah, you guys have a really good defense.
it's the coaching. It's been the coaching. We
Yeah.
got to just do something about
I don't buy
the
Garrett.
management. Yeah, I've never been a huge Garrett proponent. He's got a good football mind. I just don't think he has great control of the emotions of his players.
No,
That's
I don't
what
think his
that's what I
players are
see
behind
as-
him.
That's his biggest issue.
For my Eagles, if we don't curb stomp the Jets this weekend, we might as well as quit playing football. Like,
Yeah.
you might as well call it a year. So, yeah. But and as for my Bengals, at this point, just lose. Like it honestly
They're a
could.
lost cause.
Like, before Monday night's game, I was like, it can't get any worse than this, right? Like, it can't get any worse than But oh man, it definitely did. It got way worse. I mean, that was probably the worst offensive game I've seen, maybe ever, honestly. But yeah, just a little quick football plugs. But yeah, Jake, man, thanks for coming on. This has been really fun, and I think you brought some pretty. We got into pretty deep discussions about life and death, so that's
For
pretty
sure.
fun. And music and Joker, go see it for you people out there. It's a really great movie. Support it, and so that more studios take risks on making rated R movies. But yeah, calling all ladies. I want a female guest on as my next guest. So ladies out there that are listening, I know you're out there. What's up? Hit me up if you want to come on and you got something to say. I'm trying to think of some fun conversations to have. So let me know. I want to have my first female guest next time for my next episode. So definitely hit me up in that regard. But for you guys listening, 5-star rating. Like I said, hit me with the 5 stars if you think this is worth it. If you actually got something out of this or enjoyed it, or just, or walking to class and made you not want to hate yourself as much. And for you 8 a.m. guys and girls out there, I'm with you. For you guys in your full-time jobs, I will be with you in a couple of months. So
Amen.
hang in there. Life is good. Find the good things in life. 5-star rating, comment, subscribe. Tell a friend. This is the tell a friend challenge. Tell one friend. If someone's ever like, hey, what podcast should I listen to? I'm your guy.
And then tell that friend to tell one of their friends.
Right. And say, oh, maybe when somebody asks you, tell them TJ Martino podcast. For all ages. I hope, even some of you older folks that listen, I hope maybe you got a little bit more of an got more of a look into us younger folks and how we think. Because I think that's kind of one of the hardest things with like the generational gap is like being able to relate to each other, like, I don't know. But yeah, tell a friend. One friend challenge. Tell one friend. And you got any social media you want to plug?
Yeah, sure. Follow my Twitter. At J Lieberman 619. Just give you an FYI, it's a very weird Twitter account, but
Yes.
a couple.
We may need to put his Twitter account in a cage, too.
Yeah, my Twitter account I think needs a cage, but yeah, definitely request me. I'll accept your request if I know who you are, and yeah, and if you want to follow me on Instagram, I'm Jake Liebs. So that's that.
Yeah. Follow me. Like I said, I finally returned to Facebook. I will probably get the podcast page up soon if it isn't up already. Check out for that. Or just friend me on Facebook at my name. For all you older folks out there that use it, I know you parents. I know you guys are, while you're dropping your kids off at school and you're listening, hit me up on Facebook, Twitter at TJ Martino. Instagram, TJ.Martino. Whoever has that TJ Martino handle, let's everybody block that person and report that person so I can get that handle because that guy has not posted since 2011. So I assume at this point it's been 8 years since he posted. So I assume he doesn't use his Instagram account anymore, and I want that handle. So report that guy. Snapchat, TJ Martino, no spaces. YouTube, I haven't uploaded in a while. Probably won't for a while. So, follow me on there. Actually, I might be putting the podcast up on YouTube. So be on the lookout for that. Spotify, TJ Martino, no spaces. For my music podcast, if you're listening on there, shout out to you. Apple Music, SoundCloud, Apple Podcast, Stitcher, TuneIn. I'm going to get Google Podcasts working. But thanks for listening, everybody, and have a great day. You know what? Go out there and change the world. Do something, or do something that you never thought you'd do, like we were talking about. Get out of your cage. Get out of your comfort zone. Enjoy your life. And you know what? Just keep on keeping on, people. Peace.
They're trying to be crack. They're trying to be crack. She wanted me cut it. That bitch is a bird.